Hello y'all, hope you're all doing well. This is RJ here in Pulaski County, Virginia, in the Appalachian Mountains, here at Cloyds battlefield. And right over here is the sole solitary gravesite of the legendary American General Patrick Cleburne's brother, who is buried right over here. I will walk over there in just a moment, explain to you here soon why it's there. He was killed here on May 10th, 1864, or died here. And he wished that he be buried on the battlefield where he died. So I was going to share this with you and walk over there in just a moment. As you can see right here, it says, here on May 9th, 1864, was fought the Battle of Cloyds Farm, in which more than 800 gallant men were killed. Rutherford B. Hayes, William McKinley, later Presidents of the United States, engaged in this battle as officers of the Union Army. Restored back in May 2014 by the UDC. Thank you, ladies. I'll talk about this battle here. First I'll walk over to this historical marker over here. It's a beautiful area. This is just a little southwest of Christiansburg, where I was just at before this. Pulaski isn't too far from here. I'll be heading over there next. The battle that took place here was only about an hour's long, but they say it was extremely high casualty rates. Very bloody battle that took place here. In fact, they say this is the largest, bloodiest war in the southwest section of Virginia. Battle of Cloyds Mountain, just to the west, took place. The Battle of Cloyds Mountain on May 9th, 1864. The Union General Crook, raiding to destroy the Virginia and Tennessee railroads, north and west, met and repulsed General Jenkins, who was mortally wounded. This historical marker dates back to 1938. Now, the battle that took place here is considered a Union victory. I guess it's not too much of a surprise, because after all, Union outnumbered the Confederates almost 3-1. Once again, the locals, the home team, the defenders of this area were outnumbered nearly 3-1 here. That the Union troops had roughly about 6,500 folks, up to against only about 2,300 or so Southern American Confederate soldiers. So walking up, approaching the gravesite of Christopher Cleburne. Once again, he is the half-brother of General Patrick Cleburne, who died only a few months after he did. So General Patrick Cleburne undoubtedly heard about the death of his youngest brother. He's a half-brother because Patrick Cleburne's mother had died and his father remarried, and this is the child from Patrick Cleburne's father's second wife. But as it says here, died May 10th, 1864, at the Battle of Cloyds Farm near Dublin, Virginia, in the 21st year of his age. As you see here, Captain Christopher S. Cleburne, 2nd Kentucky Cavalry, CSA. He rests in the state. Valor. It's challenging to read this. That's Cleburne. The Iron Cross right here. So he died May 10th, 1864. As you know, Jeb Stuart died just about close to the same time frame. And this happened to be exactly the year after General Thomas Stonewall Jackson died. He died there in Guinea Station, Virginia. So his wishes were that if he was killed in battle, that he be buried in the spot he was killed. But as I understand, it was actually closer to the roadside back here. And when they were widening the road, they had to move the gravesite too. So they moved the gravesite from right over here to right here. Now, I don't know if any of this land is really preserved, although it's really pristine. Not much has really changed here over the years, but I don't think it's owned by a foundation or a preservation foundation. I believe it is. It's privately owned. I've been here multiple times before, and this is the first time I've actually seen corn stalks in the background. Usually you can see over the field a little bit better, but the battle took place right through this area. Once again, although the battle only took place for a little over an hour or so, it was extremely deadly, very high casualty rate. So it was very intense. You can imagine the Southerners defending their turf here against overwhelming odds, being overrun here. And in the end, Christopher Cleburne is the only grave here, buried by himself, far away from where his brother is buried, there in Helena, Arkansas. Been to his gravesite multiple times. It's a cemetery over there in West Helena, Arkansas. There is a Patrick Cleburne statue memorial to him just down the road from the cemetery. He's buried over the Confederate cemetery up on a hill. So this right here, I'm going to read this historical sign, kind of faded. Rear guard action. Battle of Cloyds Mountain. You are standing where a rear guard action took place at the end of Battle of Cloyds Mountain on May 9th, 1864. The main action occurred 3 miles in front of you at the base of the mountain as Union General George Crook's force of 6,555 men and 12 artillery pieces headed towards Dublin to destroy the New River Bridge on the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad. As Crook's men marched down the slope, however, they encountered Confederate General Albert Jenkins with 3 infantry regiments, the local home guard, and 10 cannons. After an hour of intense fighting and hand-to-hand combat, the Confederates retreated down the turnpike, the present-day Cleburne Boulevard, towards Dublin, leaving Jenkins mortally wounded and in Federal hands. Confederate cavalry reinforcements, fighting dismounted, made a stiff rearguard stance here and stalled Crook's advance. The Confederates retreated through Dublin and by nightfall had set up defenses on the eastern side of the New River. After an artillery duel over the river the next day, Crook's men destroyed the bridge and headed back to West Virginia before Confederate reinforcements arrived. There were more than 1,200 casualties on both sides, including Confederate General Patrick Cleburne's brother, Captain Christopher Cleburne, who was mortally wounded in the rearguard action here and asked to be buried where he fell. In 1968, his body was reinterred just to your left to make way for the modern road. General Cleburne was killed at the Battle of Franklin, Tennessee on November 30th, 1864. So, of course, General Patrick Cleburne was just killed that same year, several months after his brother was killed here. 2 future presidents of the United States served under Crook at Cloyds Mountain. You see Major William McKinley, Colonel Rutherford B. Hayes, and there is General Albert Jenkins, who was mortally wounded and died here. It's worth noting that these, of course, became presidents of the United States, who were very supportive of the Confederate memorial Reconciliation Memorial that was back at Arlington National Cemetery. I never really had anything bad to say about their former foes. So once again, this is the Cloyds site. We're right here, you see. And the base of the mountain is over here. That's why it's over, down, beyond here. But as I understand, this is all private land through here. Hopefully a preservation foundation get a hold of it someday. And so we can go roam the grounds a little bit and go to the actual battle site. But there was part of the rear guard action. Now, of course, we're where Christopher Cleburne was mortally wounded and killed. So once again, you can see the surrounding area. There's a commerce park right over here. There's really not much up this direction. A lot of rural countryside. You see a lot of the mountains off in the distance. You see the Appalachian Mountain range off in the distance. It's here at near the foot of Blue Ridge Mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and go finish this up at Christopher Cleburne's grave site. Very pleasant, nice day out here right now in September. Very pleasant out here right now. Nice place for a picnic. Outside roadside stop. Walking a little bit, one more time, walking this way. I want to see what this says. Once again, Battle of Cloyds Mountain. With Patrick Cleburne's brother, Christopher Cleburne, buried in the background once again. There is a new historical marker that wasn't here last time. I just wanted to come and see this briefly. Revolutionary America, Trollinger's Cave. Henry Jacob and son Henry mined saltpeter from a local cave and manufactured gunpowder for patriotic forces from 1776 to 1782. So finishing this video up next to the solitary gravesite out here. It's a remote place, Southwest Virginia. The gravesite of Captain Christopher S. Cleburne, who died on May 10th, 1864. May God bless and save America. May God bless and save the South.